Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have a guest with me that I am really excited to share with you, because one of the questions I get asked a lot is how do these people get to number one? And my guest today, Mia Oddo, did it. She's number one. So let me tell you a little bit about Mia. Mia Oddo is a medical esthetician and owner of Mia's Spa inside the Atha Holistic Wellness Center and Spa in Delray Beach, Florida. She is a co-author of the best-selling book, Be a Success Maverick Volume 4, and has been a number one income earner in her direct network marketing for air purification. Mia earned recognition as one of the top 100 successful women in business network by the Global Trade Chamber in 2020 and was featured in the Atlantic Ave magazine as one of the top premier spas in Delray Beach, Florida, and has earned a 5-star rating on Yelp. Mia loves being in service and is a motivational speaker and ambassador for Open Hearts for Orphans Charity, which provides financial and medical supplies to babies overseas. How much do you guys already love her? Oh my gosh. Mia, welcome to Badass Direct Sales Mastery, my dear.
Thank you, Jennie. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I am glad you are here. I'm so glad we are introduced. So you and I are both best-selling authors of Be a Success Maverick. I'm in volume 3. You are in volume 4. That's amazing. So tell us your story of how you got into direct sales. What drew you to this, being a spa owner?
Well, actually, it was due to tragedy. I have a spa now. I've been very blessed for 12 years. But when COVID hit, like so many other businesses had to look at, can they survive? Can they stay open? And at that point, I was really at a loss. I was not able to pay my bills. I wasn't getting unemployment. And I really thought I was going to have to give up my business and my freedom to go back into the workforce. But when you've been self-employed for 12 years, that's one thing that you don't want to give up, is that freedom. So at that point, I had very severe asthma. And it was so debilitating that I literally had to be on my bronchodilator and nebulizer 3 times a day. I was taking Flonase, Neti-Pot, Allegra D. I had sinusitis, and I couldn't even sleep because I was wheezing so much at night that it kept me up.
Oh.
So I've always suffered with asthma and bronchitis all my life. And being that it was COVID and I was considered high risk, I wanted to find a way that I could protect myself, and knew that it had to be something externally, whether it was allergens or, mold or mildew or dust, that was triggering my asthma. So I started to look into air purification. And at that time, I had tried 2 other traditional HEPA filters and did not have any success. I am 47 years old, but I felt like I was trapped in a 90-year-old body.
Oh.
And I was desperate for a solution. So when I had found Taryn, who was the lady that introduced it to me, I was very skeptical, but I was in so much suffering that I wanted to do anything possible to invest in my own health and find the best solution. So I contacted Taryn, and she said, look, try this air purification through Vollara. It is state of the art. It is not HEPA filter. It is completely different. And this is something that is backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't feel like it impacts your quality of life, you can return it, no questions asked, and get a full refund. So at that point, I said, why not? It has a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a different type of technology. The HEPA filters are considered passive. This is what most people are familiar with. This is active, so it sends the solution to the pollution and eliminates it out of the air and reduces all the pathogens and contaminants by 99.99%. So I said, okay, I'm going to try it. So I put the air purification in, and lo and behold, I was able to sleep for the first time. I did not wheeze. I then was able to breathe better, sleep better, and now because of Vollara, live better. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity, but not only for that, for my health. So I really just started as a product of the product, a consumer. And then when COVID hit, Taryn was always, telling me, why don't you share your story? You have such a powerful story with your asthma, and now your business is closed. This is the perfect opportunity. We are in a pandemic. This is an essential product. You can share this. And so my no, which I was telling her no for about a year because I was just a consumer for a year, became a yes. And at that point, I just started to become a business builder with Vollara, put the technology in the spa, and then that created so much interest as well as thank yous from my customers because I was going above and beyond to protect them, to give them peace of mind, and to know they were in a safe space, that those customers then became not only my spa customers, but also my air purification customers. And then that also led to other businesses that were interested as well. And that's how it all began.
That is an amazing starter story because that's the really, every one of us has our starter story. What got us started in the business? What really made the difference for each of us? And that's an incredibly powerful story to have to say, I started as a customer and went from having all these things, and now I'm able to live my life and I'm not stuck sitting, on my nebulizer, my bronchodilator multiple times a day. I'm able to actually live my life and not have to rely on those things multiple times a day. That's huge because time is invaluable. You can't get it back. That's awesome. And so Mia, now we've hit the part of the story where you take on the business builder. I already referenced the fact in your introduction that you have been a number one income earner in your company. How did you go from being a customer and a business builder to hitting number one in the company?
Well, first I started to share about asthma because that was what affected me. And so I first started off sharing my story with other people that suffered with respiratory issues. So whether it was asthma or COPD, or they were very sensitive to allergens or had pet allergens. And so it started there. And because I shared from my heart, it really resonated with people. And I started to get really positive testimonials from other people that no longer had asthma as well. And from there, it also led to mold and mildew issues because we live in South Florida. And I also have a lot of friends that have homes and, they don't have the best air ventilation. So rather than having to pay thousands of dollars for mold remediation, they contacted me and said, I know you have an air purifier. Does it do anything for mold or mildew? And I said, yes, it does. We have clinical studies that show that it will eliminate the mold spores, not only in the air, but through the walls. So That was really amazing. So I had another friend of mine that suffered, it was triggering her asthma. So she was not only had mold and mildew, but it was also triggering her asthma. And the moment that she put in the air purifier, the mold after, within a week, she had someone come back in to test it and there was no more mold and she had no more symptoms. She had no more asthma. Her eyes were not watering. So it first started with that. And then from there, it grew into commercial business through the spa. So a lot of my customers are, not only there for themselves to get pampered, but they're business owners. So one of the ladies happened to share with me that it was Christmas. And she said, I really don't want to have to cancel Christmas, but this is in the height of the pandemic. I have 100 people coming over. I have my elderly and I have my young, and I don't want them to commingle and get each other sick. So I'm going to have to cancel Christmas. I said, you're not going to have to cancel Christmas. I have this state-of-the-art air purification system in the spa right now that is protecting you 24/7. Why not have that same protection in your home? You can feel safe. You don't have to cancel Christmas. Everyone can enjoy themselves. And it makes great Christmas presents Because what better way to say I love you than to be able to have health and wellness and peace of mind 24/7 in their home? And so at that point, she said, that's a great idea. I'll call you tomorrow and give you my order. So this was my first really big sale. And it was for 15 air purification machines.
Wow.
And she bought 3 for herself. The other 15 were actual Christmas presents. Then she bought 6 mobiles, which are like smaller ones for smaller areas. And then 6 other personals, which is the ones that you wear around your neck.
Wow.
So she gave those all as Christmas presents, and she cut me a very large check. And that was the kind of the beginning of really my belief then at that point was this is something really special. People need this, they want this. And then my second biggest sale, which was a business, came from a client again that I was just treating. I had no idea who she was. And after she was done, she was leaving, the spa, and she turned around and she said, I noticed you have that little air purifier right by the front desk. Tell me more about that. So I started to share with her all the benefits of clean air and that I was helping not only customers, but I was starting to build and put them in restaurants and other spas. And she said, well, I am the CEO of a charity called Building Hope that builds schools. And we are looking to partner with an air purification system to make sure that those schools stay open. And so we've developed a really powerful partnership that has now allowed me to sell over 500 machines to schools all over the country.
That's amazing. And so what I want to point out to the listener, right, for those of you who are in direct sales and network marketing, the 2 things that Mia did that really helped build her business, she got specific. She got very specific about who her ideal client was because that was the story she had to share herself. So Mia, Vollara has how many products available in their catalog?
They have over 20.
Okay, over 20 products. But guess what? She picked sharing her story, and she picked a customer avatar that looked very familiar to her, people who were dealing with respiratory issues, right? So number 1, pick your avatar. That is brilliant. Okay. Number 1, figure out who you're selling to. Stop selling to everyone and sell to the people who have a story like yours. Second thing that Mia did was she opened her ears and listened for places where she could get her foot into a larger place, a larger, audience in order to do that. So listen for those opportunities for where your company, your product, your service, what you offer will become an opportunity for you and for people to all win, right? She was looking for a way to help these schools win, to help this customer not have to cancel Christmas and actually turn it into Christmas gifts, right? Really smart thing to be looking for the way to help everybody win. Everybody walks out a happy camper. So that right there, Mia, those 2 things, boom, done. Seriously. Amazing way to help someone focus on getting to number 1 income earner for their company is just by those 2 things. Now, I'm sure that's not all you did, but that's a great start. So, and I know one of the things you've been doing is also building a team, an organization with you. How are you building your team and your organization?
So I've been a business builder now in Vollara for about 2 years. And within 2 years was able to grow my team to 2,000 people.
Wow.
Yes. And I only personally sponsored 50.
That's huge.
Yes.
That's huge. I mean, okay, so I got to share this with everybody. So I was just on a call earlier today with Jordan Adler and Richard Bliss Brooke. So if you know anything about network marketing, those are 2 huge names. And I got to be in the same room with them and Tom Chenault, right? Same Zoom room. And one thing they shared is exactly what Mia just talked about. So you already did it without even necessarily knowing you were doing it, Mia. Sponsor the right people and they build and grow out for you and with you by bringing the right people in. So how did you find those 50 people and get to the point where you're you brought on 50 and now you have an organization of 2,000. Tell me more about that.
Well, first I will say that Vollara has a very unique opportunity. Most other direct network marketings require an enrollment fee, or they require a specific amount of money to be spent in order to qualify to sell the product, or even a certain amount of money to get a discount, a higher discount. With Vollara, they really want to be able to give the opportunity to everyone. And so it makes it easier in that people don't have to pay something right away. Now, yes, I truly believe they have to be a product of the product. And most people end up purchasing if they're really serious about wanting to share the technology, because how can you really share from the heart if you have no idea how it feels?
Right.
So that first and foremost really takes a lot of pressure off. So when I talk to people, again, like you said, I'm in the listening, and I just ask them, I use the form. And you might have heard that: family, occupation, recreation, motivation. So I start to ask people, and again, I don't sell right away. I really want to get to know who they are, what's important to them, what their goals are they struggling financially? And if they are, and they are looking at other ways of making income, I simply ask and say, hey, I found a really great product that's helped my asthma tremendously. Not only does it help asthma, but it helps mold and mildew and off-gassing, and it's FDA cleared to eliminate and reduce SARS-CoV-2 in 1 minute. Is that something that would be of interest to you, or do you know anyone that I can help that would benefit from knowing about this technology? So all of a sudden they start thinking, well, I know a lot of people, or I could actually share with them, or they might just give me the referral. So I kind of plant the seed in that way to talk about the product and the opportunity. And a lot of times then I will then send them over to a Zoom call or do a 3-way call to really be able to provide more information, or a quick little video, to get their interest. And that's how it usually begins.
That's awesome. And I think what's important is for people to understand that the sponsoring aspect is a process, right? You're getting to know the person, and it's all based in relationship, right? So you've got the form, which I am very familiar with that process. You've got forms. So again, just repeating that for people who are listening, because now they've had time to go grab a piece of pen or grab their phone and pull up the notes app. Form is family, occupation, recreation, motivation. So you're asking them their goals, right? What are your goals? What gets you out of bed, right? And when you're asking those questions and building that relationship and really listening to what they have to share with you, you're going to hear the things that will help you understand what might make them want to participate in your company, either on the product level or on the business level. And then you can have the conversation based on their own life, their own wants, their own needs, their own desires. And Mia has then, once she knows where she's directing them, she's got a process. She knows exactly, okay, we're either going to send them on a Zoom call, or we're going to have a 3-way. Boom. She knows what she's doing. So smart. So Mia, as you've been building all of this, we all know business is not completely rainbow and roses all the way. There are obstacles and challenges that come up. What are some of the obstacles that you've encountered in your Vollara business now that you've been doing this for 2 years?
I think the first thing that was the biggest hurdle was the fact that the air purifier is really state of the art. So it is more costly, but more economical in the long run if you look at the value. Right. And so initially I said, how can I sell a machine where someone can go to, BrandSmart or Target and get it for a fraction of the price? And at that point, when people would ask me, oh, that sounds great, I'm so glad I helped you, how much is it? And in the beginning, I would tell them the price. Mm-hmm. And by telling them the price, most people are automatically at a default no if it's higher than what they're expecting it to be. Right. It's like when you go to the mall and you go shopping and someone asks you if they can help you find something and you say, no, thank you. Right? We're automatically at a default no. So by saying the price early on, that no came out really fast. Yeah. So what I learned over the time was to build the value first. So when someone asks me the price, I pause and I do not tell the price. I first go into how much money they're going to be saving and say, well, this is unique. This is not like any type of air purification in the market. It also sanitizes surfaces as well. And it also does not require maintenance like HEPA filters. If you were to go to the traditional store or Amazon and get a HEPA filter, that would cost you $500 a year. And of course, if somebody does have asthma or respiratory issues, depending who I'm talking to, then I will say I save $500 a year alone just in my asthma medication. So now you're already building the value. Then I go into how special the technology is, that this is actually a space certified NASA technology that was originally used to grow potatoes and vegetables in space. And when you're in space, you have to have a pristine environment. You cannot have anything go wrong in order for it to create life. So I go into the acclimates, and I also explain to them too that we are FDA approved, the only air purification system that has the science to back it up. And then I also explain too that the company has been in business for 96 years.
Wow.
So they really know clean air. So after I build all the value, then I say to them, how much do you think this is worth? How much do you think this is worth? So now I'm already kind of finding out, what their comfort level is, or how much they value their own health. And so a lot of people will say, oh, it's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And then I'll say, actually, no, it's whatever the cost that I'm selling it to, depending who I'm talking to.
Right.
And so that really put a lot of, and if they say, oh, it's $100, then I may know they're not really my customer, or not yet.
Right.
Or maybe they have an influence of people that they can share and become an associate with me and a distributor. So there's all different, and again, it's all in the listening. I think that is really important to see where they're at and to meet them where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard, and this is from a sales coach who I mentored under a couple of years ago, and she calls it meeting people at their bus stop. Meet them at their bus stop. Be where they are, right? So, by asking those form questions that we just talked about, that helps you understand where are they, and then I love the way that you explained how to build the value. Build that conversation so that they understand what it is that they're really doing. Because if you're gonna try and sell based on price, then no, guess what? The Walmart is gonna win every time, right? But if you're trying to build on value, that's a whole other ball of wax, and that's a very different conversation. And so that's amazing. So the people on your team now, so you're overcoming these obstacles, you're teaching them to do that. What are some of the cool things that you and your team have accomplished as an organization within your company? What are some of the neat stories that you want to share that your team members have gotten to do because of being in business with you?
Well, I've been very blessed that the people that are my team members truly share the same vision and passion and mission. They just so happen to also be Christian, and a lot of them are also vegan and vegetarian. So I started to notice that through the law of attraction, I was really attracting the right type of people that really had the heart, and to not be so afraid of the no. Yeah. And so what I do with my teams is I have weekly calls to really dive deeper into what it takes to be successful, whether it's mindset or asking the right questions or a different topic that we can all come together and mastermind. I was the number one top earner, but so is my team. So I could have never done it without my team. And now I have what we reach is called Gold Executive. Once you hit Gold Executive, that's considered where you really start to make, 4 or 5 figures in the company. And so I've been very blessed. I have the most gold and platinum team members in all of Vollara. So, and I can never done it without them. I never call them my downline. I call them my support team, because without them,
I love that. And what I like to point out to people in direct sales and network marketing on a regular basis is one of the great things about this industry is the personal growth aspect. But one of the downsides of this can be that you're at the mercy of the type of leader that you have in your organization. And so, based on the fact that you've built an organization like this and what you offer your team members, you are a top leader that people should be looking to have someone like you as their leader. I think that's a really important thing because, again, in order for someone to be able to help you succeed, they need to have done it themselves, right? They need to. So what you want to be asking of your leaders and of yourself when people are looking at direct sales companies, because I regularly get that question now since I've been direct sales coaching since 2011. I get people asking me, well, what's a good company? What's a good network marketing company to go with? And I'm like, God, that is such a loaded question. It's really about your own personal alignment. Like you said, the law of attraction. Who am I attracting in on my team? Love that. Absolutely. Because then you know how to speak their language and they speak your language. But it's also really about knowing about who's bringing you in and being really smart about the leaders and the uplines that you have and that you attach yourself to in business. Because one of the things I quickly did when I got started in my own direct sales business was I very quickly made sure that I was in the attention, in the spotlight, knew and had the number one person in my company who knew who I was. I was networking up all the time, saying, hey, can I pick your brain for 30 minutes about this? Hey, can I, and then I would go implement. I think that is so key because you can't network up, pick their brain, and then not do what they tell you to do, because then they're never going to let you take their time again. Right?
Yes.
So do you have a specific thing that you do with your team members that helps you identify who you're working with and how you're helping them build and grow in the organization? So I know you said you do the weekly calls for everybody. Do you have additional time that you work one-on-one with some of your team members?
I do. And actually, even in my I have a Facebook page, it's called Velara Visionaries. And although a lot of people would maybe just make it for their group of distributors, I have opened it up to all of Velara. So I truly have a servant's heart, and my team does too. So we cross promote and help each other teams. We really give back, which I'm very blessed because, like you, if you have other people that that are in a different upline and they're open to being able to help you, then that's beautiful to be able to create that. Of course, it's important to have boundaries too.
Yes.
And as you get really big, so what I do is I time block. I have my top, let's say 20 distributors that I know are true business builders. Not everyone is a business builder. Some people are casual sellers. Some people just want the wholesale. They just want to be able to get the products at wholesale. So I really quickly identify who is really serious about the business, and then knowing what their goals are, how much money do they want to make a month. So we break that down to say, okay, this is this many products or machines. And then if they really want to leverage that by building a team, then I also identify with who wants to be a business builder by building a team. And so that's just really important knowing for me, and then the time that I'm giving, I say, look, I'm making a commitment with you once a week to spend 30 minutes a week. We're going to go over, what you're working on. I'll be accountable. We can be accountable to each other. So this way, if you have a specific school or person that you're trying to talk to, let's give ourselves a deadline to make sure that we can have that presentation. Let's set goals together. And I think that's the most important thing, is just quality time that's being spent with the people that really want to learn and grow. But I'm always touching base with everyone else. And again, it's just meeting people where they're at.
Yeah, it's the Pareto principle, or Pareto, I think it's Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% when you're in network marketing, about 80% of your income, your team income, will come from about 20% of your team members, right? So really, like you just said, you've got 2,000 people in your organization and you're working with your top 20. That, hello guys, right there. right there is proof positive of that right there. So Mia, I want people who have probably never heard of this, because I had never heard of Volare before you and I were introduced to one another. If people want to learn more about this, how would you like them to reach out to you to learn more about you or Volare products?
Well, I would love for them to reach out to me directly. The quickest way is either through direct message, which I'm on Facebook at Mia, Mia Oddo, Oddo, or they can simply contact me as well or email me. So my email is Mia, Mia, at Mia, Mia, safe, SAFE, like Nancy, sound, SOUND.net, or my phone number, which is 561-951-0814.
Perfect. And my badass crew, you guys know that all of this information, all of it is in the show notes. And if this is your very first time ever listening to the podcast and you're like, what are these show notes that Jennie talks about? All you have to do is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, grab your phone, click on today's episode that you're listening to right now, and just scroll up a little bit and you'll see the show notes there where we have all of Mia's contact information that she just described. So we've got her direct link to her Facebook page, we've got her phone number and her email address. So if you have a preferred way that you'd like to reach out to her, and then just let her know that you heard her here on the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast and that you wanted to reach out because you've got questions about her team, the opportunity, the product, whatever it may be. Reach out to Mia and ask those questions, or just tell her how awesome she was on the show today, because this was phenomenal. Mia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jennie. It's really been such a blessing, and I'm so grateful to have met you.
Oh, me too. Oh my gosh. And I cannot wait to share this. Oh, and the next time we talk, we're going to have to talk about your charity and what you're doing for that, because I think that is such a really important piece in business that many entrepreneurs miss out on, is that give back and how that can actually build your business. So we should schedule another conversation, and we're going to talk about how that give back builds your business as well, because I know it sounds weird. It's not the reason you should do it. You've got to have a heart for it. But we're going to talk about that next time. So Mia, thanks again for your time. I so appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Jennie. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. Love being on the show.
Awesome. Very good. Well, badass crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there is another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast, so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.